And I'm live. Yeah, I watch Come on, because it says you're live. And I'm live. And I'm almost wasn't live today. Yeah, hi, good morning. Beautiful day outside. It's sunny. I'm not gonna check temperature. I know what the temperatures are gonna be anymore. We're like mid 50s, low 60s. That's it from here on out. It really is. We're not gonna change. And I said, I almost wasn't live today because last night, for some strange reason, um, I was watching Netflix and then I got off the computer and I decided I was going to go out and sit out on my balcony for a while. So I put in some earbuds so I could listen to music streaming off my computer because earlier in the day I'd taken my transonic speaker out and the asshole next door, who normally never says anything to me, but has this real bug up his ass if he hears music playing. And he started screaming, turn down your music, turn down your music. And I don't think he knew it was me. But finally, I just said, fuck it, I can't even play my fucking music in the rain. And I went back inside. But anyway, so I put on my earbuds, which are Bluetooth. And I fired up YouTube and nothing's coming out. And then so I go down and I check. I was like, okay, and my sound system isn't loading. I mean, it just went completely off. And it said I had no devices, I had nothing. So I did, a little quick Google research and I said, hey, when Windows sound system is off, how the hell do you turn it back on? And apparently what had happened is some update got done processing, and updates have a tendency to turn the sound system off. And then you got to go back out and manually restart everything, which is what I did. I went out and restarted everything and then restarted the computer, and then it worked. But for about 15 minutes, I had nothing. I had no speakers and I had no microphone. And it's just like, oh, Jesus, it's a good thing that I know kind of what to do, so that if something like that does happen, it's just like, go out, see what's happened. I had that happen once with the video on the TV. I couldn't get the HDMI hookup to work. And now I had this with the speakers come up. I also had it happen with Bluetooth. Bluetooth shut off once on me. And fortunately, I can Google, how do I turn on Bluetooth on in Windows 10? And I just like, oh, okay, here you go. And I get everything running again. But like I said, it took about 20 minutes. For about 20 minutes there, I'm like, this sucks. I have no music. And I had no Netflix either, because while I could get an image on the TV, I couldn't get any sound. I could probably have watched it with the closed caption on, but it's not safe. Jeez, my life. Yeah. Any writing this week? I did some editing, not a lot. There's been a lot going on this week. Let's see. Monday night I went out and I did trivia, and I ended up being at the end the only person left. There was 3 of us that started out, and I ended up at the end of the night being the only one left. And we came in 9th. I mean, we blew 2 rounds completely. It was just like, oh, it was horrible. It was a massacre, and everybody was tired and shit like that. It wasn't good. And then Tuesday, was there something that happened Tuesday? Yeah, there was an election. Yes. And I got out and voted, of course. My polling place, unfortunately for me, my polling place is just right down the block. So I can walk to my polling place in 5 minutes. But there's no excuse. Everybody should get out and vote. And I'm going to lay this out there, and it's probably going to piss a couple of people off. But the people who do the most whining about not getting out and voting happen to be white people. Seriously. And that's because when you're in a position of privilege, you can whine about shit like that. If you look at totals, it's always blacks, Latinos, Asians, other people of color who are doing the most voting, and then white people. It's like, I don't really like voting. They're both the same. No, they're not. Once you are a marginalized person like me, they are not the fucking same. I'm sorry. They aren't. And even as a non-marginalized person, you should know this. There's a big difference between one group who at least is trying to forward shit for LGBT people, for people of color, for women. They're trying to forward agendas for them, as opposed to the other group who's like, we want to give tax cuts for rich people. Yeah, they're not the same. Get off that bullshit. I'm tired of hearing it. I seriously am. So, but I got outvoted. I was 84th at my precinct. When I voted in 2016, I think I was 4th. But I was working then. So I actually, first thing I did when I got up was I got ready, got dressed, and went over and voted. And it was actually kind of nice because I was the only one that walked in. So I was in and out in just like a few minutes. And we did re-elect Governor Wolf. Yay. We did re-elect Governor Casey. I mean, not Governor Casey, but Senator Casey. Yeah. Bob Casey. Yeah, got elected. I met both those dudes. I know. I like to say I know the governor. I've met him twice. Yeah, big deal. Unfortunately, the one guy who was running in the newly reconfigured 10th district, he didn't get elected. Perry beat him, but Perry didn't beat him by a lot. Perry used to walk away when he would do his re-elections. He would just fucking walk away with the election. And this time it was close. And I do believe the next time this seat comes up for re-election, which is in 2 years, it's going to flip. Because Perry is a fucking dingbat. He really is. He is. He's a fucking dingbat. He is. My representative, Patty Kim, she got reelected. Yeah. So the good thing is Wolf got reelected because the guy who was running for the Republican governorship, he was a complete batshit insane dingbat. I mean, if there ever was one. I remember like early on, he made a comment about how you couldn't use renewable energy, something to do with the earth not being close enough to the sun or some shit like that. I was just like, the hell are you talking about, dude? And actually, during a debate with Governor Wolf, he stated that he was going to beat on Governor Wolf's face with a pair of golf spikes. I mean, he said this during a debate, and he was going to beat him with a pair of golf spikes. It's like, dude, you are fucking unhinged. And I believe Wolf beat him by like 9 points, something like that. I have to go back and check, but it was a comfortable margin. He beat him by about 9 points. And then once again, if you look at an election map of Pennsylvania, there's a lot of blue in the urban areas, and all the rest of the state is red. Sort of like Indiana. What a surprise. Sort of like Indiana, too. Indiana was like that. There would just be these dots of blue, and then the whole rest of the state was red. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Is it because you're pissed off because you're sending your money away and it's going to people who aren't white? No, mostly it's going to states that are red. That's the one thing you want to keep in mind. And one thing that has been shown is that the states that tend to pay out the most tend to be blue, and the states that receive the most in tax revenues from the government for aid tend to be red. Why is that? It was, as they said on the West Wing one night, it's like, yeah, when are you going to give us our money back? Jed Bartlett was going up against a debate with the governor of Florida, who happened to be played by Josh Brolin, who played. He was actually playing Jeb Bush, but he wasn't. You could tell he was playing Jeb Bush just by his body language and how he acted. He was playing Jeb Bush. And Martin Sheen as Jeb Bartlett was like, last year we gave your state $35 million in government aid. When are we getting our fucking money back? If you're so big on not paying taxes, when do we get our money back? Yeah. And it was in response to the fact that Josh Brolin's first comment, they asked him a question. He goes, "Oh boy, that's a tough one." And the look on Martin Sheen's face, I mean, it's active, and he's just like, "Oh my God." And he said, when you said, "Ooh boy, that's a tough one," I wasn't going to say much, but when you said, "Ooh boy, that's a tough one," I decided I'm going to tear you apart. Oh, I love the West Wing. I did. Why couldn't we have had a president like Jeb Bartlett? We did. His name was Obama. It was. I just don't think Obama could swear in Latin like Jeb Bartlett could, which he did one time in the National Cathedral, which was a pretty awesome scene, but it got a few people pissed off because basically he was cursing God in Latin. I guess he wanted them to understand them. He should have done it in Aramaic. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, and we took back the house. Yeah. We took back the house with a lot of women and women of color. 2 Muslim women. Yeah. Come January, I'm just going to have to send out those thoughts and prayers to Mike Pence because he's going to have to swear in. He's going to have to swear in 2 Muslim women on a Quran. And he is not going to be a happy dude. He is not going to be a happy dude. As I told one friend, I go, yeah, Steve King got reelected, white supremacist that he is. But I go, there's enough women and people of color who got elected to the House that maybe it'll be enough to keep Steve in his office constantly if you're afraid to come out. There's black people out there. I don't want to go out. So, yeah, we got that. A lot of LGBT people. In case you hadn't heard, the new Native American representative from in Kansas, in the blue district in Kansas, she won her district. She's a lesbian. Yeah. Colorado has an openly gay governor. Yeah, the first dude. He has the first dude is going to be coming with him to live in the state house, the mansion. 2 transgender women got elected to, I think it was the state legislature in New Hampshire. Yeah. Finally, I even posted this. It's like, are you kidding me? Key West, you waited this goddamn long. Key West has its first LGBT mayor, a lesbian woman who ran. It's like Key West has been the gay mecca since the 1970s, and you're just now getting around to putting a lesbian in office. Yeah. What is up with that? But yeah, a lot of women, a lot of women ran. A lot of women ran. A lot of women of color ran, and most of them got elected. And we're still fighting a couple of fights. It's been shown there was some voter shenanigans going on down in Georgia and Florida, and it looks like they're both gearing up for recounts. And especially in Georgia, I know that they've found votes that were never counted. Yeah, they're finding votes that weren't counted. And of course, the guy who was the Secretary of State who was running for governor was doing a lot. I'm just going to say it because you can sue me, motherfucker. He was doing a lot of illegal shit to suppress votes. So there's still the possibility that we could win the governorships in both. I want to say we, I say Democrats. We could still win governorships in both Georgia and Florida. It looks as if it's going to go recount there. It looks as if there's going to be a bunch of recounts in Florida. And already you have people from the GOP that are trying to keep the votes from being counted because you're chicken shits. You can't win an election unless you cheat. There it is. Seriously. And, we saw this coming in Georgia, and it was still a close election. And it's the same thing in Florida. It's a close election there. And the white dude who was with the GOP running against the black dude who was with the Democrats, the white dude was as racist as fuck. He was throwing out, dog whistles left and right. I mean, when you're calling your black opponent, you're not calling him directly, but you're saying, oh, this dude's going to monkey shit up. That's racist. That is racist as fuck. It is. That's like something my grandfather would have said back in the 60s. What do I mean? It's like something. It is something he actually said back in the 60s. Yeah. So, yeah, it's racist as fuck. There you go. So here's hoping we get 2 more governorships. A couple of really close fights, but yeah, the House is back in our control. One of the coolest statistics I saw was 91% of all the candidates that Donnie endorsed lost. Keep up the winning streak, Donnie. You got that magic touch. Yeah, just like you did in business, 6 bankruptcies, lost 3 casinos, or as one guy joked, this is probably the 4th time he's lost the house. Yeah, 90. I remember seeing that. It was like 91% of his endorsed candidates lost. And he was still trying to make it out like it was a great victory for them. No, you blew it. You tanked, you dick. Which is good. Just keep that magic coming, Donnie. Just keep it coming. Yep. I'm having too much fun. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad to see it because I was really getting nervous because, now we'll have a little bit of oversight. I mean, we'll have to wait until January to get the House in control, and we'll have a little bit of oversight. And I have a feeling there's going to be some massive shit going on because they're already like, if you investigate us, I'm going to turn the FBI loose and shit on you. And it's like, yeah, go ahead, dude. We got the subpoena power. And I don't think, let's face it, given how much Donnie has fucked over like the FBI, the CIA, places like that, I don't think he's got too many friends there. FBI is going to be like, yeah, we'll get right on this. Yeah, we got our 2 best agents looking into Maxine Waters, Mulder and Scully. Yeah, they're on this. Don't worry, Mr. President. They'll get back to us soon. He's so stupid he wouldn't know. He'd be like, yeah, they got 2 great investigators, Mulder and Scully. Yeah, they're gonna get this. They're gonna figure this one out. Because they'll find it out. The truth is out there. Don't worry. We'll get it. Jackass. He would be so stupid he'd never get that one. I mean, I'd just be like, I'm gonna clown this punk. Seriously, it'd be too easy. I would just clown him. Yeah, I got my best agents on it, and I got another agent in reserve, Clarice Starling. Yeah, she's on leave right now, but she's coming back. I'm gonna put her on it too. Don't worry, Clarice. Yeah, she's hanging out with a serial killer. She's working them. Yeah, I would just pull every fake, phony FBI agent name I can think of out of my ass and just throw it at him. He'd be like, that's good. Yeah, just keep it up. That's what I want. So here's hoping 2020 we saw a blue/rainbow wave come through Tuesday. Here's hoping 2020 is more of the same. It really is. I don't care about impeachment. I know a lot of people are saying, well, they're already taking impeachment off the table. I don't want impeachment. I just want investigations. Because, once you gather enough information, I mean, legitimate investigations, not like 11 investigations into Benghazi, which was all bullshit. And we knew it was bullshit. I want real investigations. Like, let's look at some tax forms. Let's see if some payments have been coming in from Russia. Yeah, that's all we want. I would like to see Pence's tax forms too, because I'm betting that motherfucker, he's got some shady cash coming in from somewhere, or he's putting cash out somewhere too. He's the kind of dude that, he's got skeletons in a closet to go all the way back to Narnia. He does. He does. He is a shady son of a bitch. Anybody who's that righteous, he's going to be shady. He's going to be. That's what I want. I want investigations. I don't care about impeachment. You know why? Because if you build a mountain of shit against these guys come 2020, they ain't going to be able to climb down off of it. Or they're not going to be able to get over it. It's going to be too big. They're not going to get over it. These idiots, what are they going to run on their record? Yeah, we're crooks. And we're fascists. And we support white supremacy. And, but please reelect us. Nope. Yeah. So there we go. Let's hope for the blue rainbow wave in 2020. If I can get through the next 2 years. But I do feel better. I don't have all this tightness in my chest anymore that I used to have. So I'm feeling better. I'm feeling a little hope at last. And that's really what you need. Especially since last night yesterday I was having a bit of a depressive moment. And I really needed to have some hope. So I got it. Talking about it, I feel much better. So, and now I got the burps. And speaking of hope, this coming Wednesday, I actually might have an offer for employment. Yeah. I've been getting a lot of phone calls this last week from headhunters. And I actually got called in on an interview for call center work, helping to manage a call center, which would be 8 to 5 work here in Harrisburg. Probably is not going to pay more than 14 or 15 bucks an hour, but it's 15-minute drive away, 8 to 5. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. It leaves my evenings open and allows me to go to practice on Sunday. At least I hope so. And it was with a company that I'd already interviewed with, and they called me back and they said, yeah, we just kept all your paperwork and we thought this might be something you'd be interested in. And I said, yeah, sure. But I don't think so. But this other one, I'd be doing some semi-caregiver work at a mental health facility, sort of. I can't go into any more details on it, but they actually, the way they put it was an offer for employment. And I think what they want to do is they want to kind of walk me around so I don't get freaked out. And it would be also during the day, but I also think there's some weekend work in it. I gotta talk to them about that. And I think it's also going to be like a case of they'll pay like 15 bucks an hour, something I can use to pay some bills while I'm, continuing to look for work, because that's exactly what I would do. I just keep looking for work. And play the lottery. I mean, I didn't win the $1.5 billion, but if I could just win like 10 million, I'm good. 10 million, I get to keep 6. I pay taxes on it. I get to keep 3. Maybe slide $500,000 toward my daughter. If I could somehow, after taxes, still keep about $6 or $7 million, I'd be happy. I would. I'd be happy. That would be enough money to see me through to the end of my days. I think we discussed that last week. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna keep playing the lottery from here on out. Maybe one day I'll win. I won't win the gigantic jackpot, but give me the 10 million. Give me 10 million clear after taxes. I'm good. I would just here I go, quit my job, get the Model X, pay off all my debts, do derby. That's it. That's my life, baby. Yeah. I'd be happy. So let's see. Let's hope. We'll see what happens. Maybe one of these days. So yeah, maybe within the next year, I'll yank it down, and there we go. So here's keeping my fingers crossed that something's going to come out of this, because I'm already am I going to make rent for December? I don't know. Yeah. I have a feeling something's going to break through in the next couple of weeks. It really is. Because I've been getting contacted more and more. And it's yeah, they they have something for me. But yeah, these companies, they want you to have 35 years experience, but they want you to be 30 as well. Which we all know, unless you're the doctor, that shit is impossible. It really is. It's yeah, we want you to have all this massive amount of experience. But, if you're 30, we only need to pay you $40,000 a year. Whereas if you're 61, like me, even if they look at it and they say, I want $60,000 as my minimum compensation, they still look at it and they're like, holy shit, no, we're not paying that. No, but you want my experience. You just don't want to pay for it. And you don't want to pay for someone who's 61 years old because you figure they're going to cut out in 5 years and you're going to be right back where you're at now. So there's ageism there. It is. We know there is. We're not going to lie. There's ageism. And it happens, especially in the tech field. I actually didn't get one job because the manager, besides being a snide fucker, who I blasted during the interview because he kept casting these, aspersions toward me. I was like, I don't see how you were out of work for 3 years. With all this experience, how are you out of work for 3 years? And my comment was, if no one interviewed me in those 3 years, if I only had 3 interviews in those 3 years, how the hell would they ever know anything about me? You tell me, genius. Yeah, that was part of it. That was probably part of why I didn't, because I snapped on him and just said, I'm really sick and tired of people casting aspersions on me. It's my fault I was out of work for 3 years. I had 3 freaking interviews in those 3 years. If no one's interviewing me, how the hell do they know what sort of personality I have? How the hell do they know what kind of person I am? I said, it's just not there. They're just not interviewing because companies aren't serious, or they look at my age. They see as, I was born in 1957. They can do the math and they look at my age and I go, we don't want to hire anybody in their late 50s. We don't want to hire anyone in their early 60s. I said, that's where it comes from. And he didn't like it. He basically told the headhunters that had put me up for the job. He said that they felt I would have difficulty taking orders from a younger manager, which I took to mean the dude snapped on me and I didn't like it. Because no, you're not going to tell me some bullshit like that and expect me to just kick back and go, oh yeah, you're right. Kiss my ass. I'm mean. I do. It's just the business world sucks. I've spent 35 years in it. It sucks. I don't like it. The sooner capitalism dies, the better. Really, the sooner it dies, the better. And it will one day. It really will. And you programmers who think Your scripting skills are going to be in demand 20 years from now. Let me tell you, It came close a few years ago when it first started coming out with all these 4GL programming systems that were supposed to be able to generate code. And unfortunately, the code it generated was really messy. I mean, it was. You couldn't go back and read it or modify it rather easily. But now they're starting to do code generation with AIs, and the code is much more effective and much more efficient. And that's where you're going to see programmers, like, unless you know how to create an AI, you're fucked. Your C#.NET scripting skills are not going to be needed anymore because there's some lame ass AI in Arizona who can script up this window a hell of a lot faster than you do. And we don't have to pay them healthcare benefits or feed them. So there you are. In fact, they can even write the code in the middle of the night and put it up on our system so it's ready to go in the morning. Yep, it's coming. And it's like I tried to explain to someone one time. In 20 years' time, we're probably going to have like 50% fewer jobs than we have today. I mean, you're already starting to see everything is going toward a customer service-based system. But even in the customer service sector, you're starting to see automation take over. And this is something that's been happening for a while. Now that touchscreens are on your phone, well, touchscreens are like everywhere, and then people are like, well, why should I, we're taking away jobs from cashiers. No, you're not, because they're going to do this anyway. It's going to happen. It's already getting to the point where you can go into stores and self-check yourself out. It's getting to the point where you can go into restaurants and order shit off of a touchscreen. Eventually, I think what's going to end up happening is you'll just have an app on your phone and you can scan your shit as you put it in your bag. You're walking around, oh, here's an item, beep, scan it. And then as you're walking out, you just hit the pay and you've already got it tied into your bank account and you just walk out and pay. So it's just going to be like walk in, scan, walk out. That's it. Pay off your phone. It's going to happen. It eventually will get to that point, which means we're going to have a lot fewer jobs and more people. So what are you going to do about that? That's why they were talking about they're doing these experiments with universal basic income, because you're eventually going to have like 40% unemployment because you can't find jobs for people. And where's that universal basic income going to come from? It's going to have to come from businesses. It really is. Eventually, it's going to have to get to the point where you're not seeing businesses. Our net was like $10 billion because, well, let's face it, you got to pay for people. People don't have any money. They can't buy your shit. That's really what it comes down to. If you don't have money, you can't buy shit. Capitalism falls apart real fast when no one is buying shit. We have noticed that. But if you're in a position where you can't hire people and pay them, they can't buy shit. So what's the point? And you can't keep relying on people binge spending to get businesses to go through. I read somewhere, maybe this was a few years ago, and I have to look this up. I don't know how true it is, but I read somewhere that like 85% or 80% of all sales come from the last month of the year, from Black Friday right up until Christmas Eve. And that's where like 80% of retail sales actually come from. They sort of like, we want the longer we want that longer period to make money because that's what keeps us afloat. And you have to wonder, the business model kind of is broken if you're depending on like 30 days to break even and even make money. If you're depending on that period of time to stay out of the red, there's something wrong. It ain't, whatever the system is, the system ain't working. And the minute you stop getting that binge spending, then you're fucked. That's all there is to it. So there you go. Derby. Yeah. Derby. And this was my first week of testing. We started on tier 1 assessments. Tier 1, we do a 3-tier assessment at Dutchland. Tier 1 is basically your basic skating skills. And then tier 2 is going to get a little bit more complicated. We're going to start like cone weaving and pace work and pack work and stuff like that. But tier 1, yeah, I had like 2.5 pages of stuff that needed to be checked off. How did I do? Because we had tier 1 testing Wednesday and Thursday night. And Wednesday night the theme was sparkles. So I wore my sparkly mermaid tights, but I bought something. Yeah. Hold on. Here we go. This is my first sparkly derby skin. Yeah, derby skin shorts. They're actually just slightly big in the legs. Really, the cuff on the legs should fit tightly around my thighs, and they don't. That's okay. They're slightly big, which is all right. Actually, what I mean slightly big, they're not that big. They're just kind of loose around my thighs. I probably could have went, those are a 2XL. I probably could have went with a 1XL, so now I know. Because of spandex, it's going to stretch. But now I am like an official derby girl. I have a derby skin. I have a shiny butt, and it's yellow, so you're going to see that fucker everywhere. Yeah, I got a group picture. I still want to see the group picture. I haven't seen it yet, and I think it's on our forum. But I want to get the group picture and post it because it was like everybody had something sparkly and shiny on, took the photo. But yeah, tier 1 assessments. How did I do? Out of 2.5 pages, all of my assessment marks were 3s and 4s. I had 2 3.5s. And I'll explain why. But Dutchland grades on a 1 to 4 skill set. 1 means you absolutely positively can't do what we're trying to get you to do. Yeah. And I think there were a few people that had 1s. The deal was if you had a 1, you weren't moving on to tier 2. You just basically know. If you can't do this, you're not moving on. A 2 means you can kind of do it, but you really need work on it. We were allowed, what'd they say? Like 14 2s. I don't remember how many skills they graded us on. It was like 4, 5, 6. Like, I want to say 10 on the first page, 10 on the second, like 5 on the last. So 25. So if you had 14 2s, that was the maximum. The minute you hit your 15, you weren't going to move on to tier 1, tier 2. If a 3 means you can do it, but you need like work. And I think I don't remember how many I had. But you were allowed, I think, 10 3s. Yeah, I think you were allowed 10 3s. I have to count up to see how many I had. I think I was like right around that area. I had a lot of 4s. I had some 3s. I had probably like 7 or 8 3s. I have to double check. But yeah. And Yeah, now I have to think about that because I did have some threes. I had a bunch of fours though. Let's see. Yeah, fours mean you got this. You know. Now I think I was under the 10 limit for threes. I'll have to go back and count. And I had a couple of 3.5s, which basically mean you can do this. You just need a little bit of improvement, like tiny bit of improvement. I remember one of them was when we were doing sticky skates, I didn't use my left foot enough. And then the other one was on leaning into people. And I had to learn how to do it the Dutchland way, which is not the way I learned it at hard. So I actually originally started out, they gave me 2.5 on it. I was like, oh, fuck, I know I can do better than this. And I knew why. I knew why that was happening. So I actually went back and said, you know, give me another opportunity. And when they did, none of the stuff, like they said, was set in stone. And we actually have a chance tomorrow during practice to bring up our scores. And I think there's like a couple of things I can bring up from a 3 to a 4. So that's what I'm going to work on. There's a couple of things I can bring up 2 4s. So I'm going to work on that. And I definitely want to work on the 3 5s and bring those up so that I can get a 4 out of it. Because I don't want to get left back. I want tier 2. So. But yeah, I think I was like, I might be like right on the edge. I'm going to have to double check. I'll double check my sheets tomorrow. So I gotta work on bringing shit up. But it's nothing bad. My scores were all 3s and 4s. And I'm happy with that. I can bring the 3s up to 4s. So I'm not real worried about it. In fact, one of the things I got a 3 on, it was funny because I said it wasn't really the avoidance, was it? It was the one knee fall I did. The coach said, yeah, that was it. She's like, when you went down, we just kind of like grimaced. So I said, yeah, I kind of figured it was that. I kind of fucked it up. And I fucked up. I said I kind of had a couple of shitty jumps when I was doing lateral hops. So those are 2 things I'm going to work on. There's like 4 things I can bring up to a 4 tomorrow. And since the track is basically ours, about the only people who are going to be showing up tomorrow are tots for practice. You know, I have plenty of opportunities to work on this. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. It's like, yeah, I'll bring those up. I get those up. Lateral hops. I mean, hop skips. I had hops and jumps. I had 4s. I had laterals like 3. And I said, yeah, I know. I had a couple of bad ones. So I'll work on those. But like I said, there's like 3, 4 things tomorrow I can bring up to a 4. And that'll help. That's what I want to do. So I'm basically ready to move on to tier 2. I really am. I'm not too worried about it. There's things I can bring up. And I think what they want you to do is they want you to have as many, they want you to have mostly 4s. And I was actually getting my plows down. I got 3s of my plows. I was like, 3s of my plows, which is good. I like that. But you know what? I'm at the point now where it's like, I know how to get a 4 in my plow. All I got to do is get that 4 in my plow. So, yeah. But past balancing on my skate, standing still for 30 seconds on both feet, that. My stride, part of it was, I think they got me on my crossover and I need to get my butt lower. So I'm going to work on that tomorrow too. I'm just going to basically go through and say, look, this is the shit I want to work on. I want to work on this. I want to get this down because these like 4 or 5 things right here, I can do a 4 in those. I want to do it. I want to jack those up. So let's work on that and get that. So I want to move on to tier 2. Tier 2, like I said, that's going to be more like cone weaving, weaving, paceline work, pack work, I know we're going to be doing transition toe stops, which, yeah, I already do that. There's going to be some other stuff that we're going to work on. In fact, I'm going to ask about that tomorrow. What it is that we do. So, yeah, it's getting there. And tomorrow is my 16th practice. It's my 16th practice, which means I'm halfway to becoming a Dutchie, a Dutchland Derby roller, because their requirement is you have to attend 32 practices when you start before you're considered a part of the team. And, I'm halfway. Tomorrow I will be halfway there. Yeah. 32 practices will be out of the way. 16 practices out of 32 will be out of the way. So I'm going to look at the calendar here. If I keep going on this criteria, that means 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I'm going to assume we're going to have practice on the 28th. So that would be 23. I don't know. I'm going to say 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. I am going to hit my 32nd practice. If we have practice, I will either hit my 32nd practice right after Christmas, or depending on how we do practice around Thanksgiving time, right before Christmas, maybe on the 20th, first day of winter. But yeah, it's going to be sometime at the end of this year. I will officially be a part of the team. It could be on the 20th. It could be, I'm going to say, maybe the 23rd. It's hard to say. I don't know how they're going to do that with the holidays. But when the first of the year rolls around, when we do our practice on Wednesday the 2nd, Wednesday the 2nd of January 2019, which would have been my first day of being able to come back to practice it hard. Just saying. But yeah, when we come back on the first practice of January, I will officially be a Dutchland roller. And I hope I'll be able to go out to my WFTA profile, and log in here and look at my profile on my dashboard and look at my insurance, and where it says currently none, it'll say Dutchland Derby rollers. That's what I'm aiming for. That's what it's gonna say. It'll say Dutchland Derby rollers. Yeah, you rock, girl. That's my goal. And working on my crossovers. And that's the other thing. One of the things I said, I was doing crossovers, but I need to get my butt down. And I know if I can get my butt down, I can get more power out of my left stride. And it's funny because when we do a hustle drill, I'll drop down to get that left leg to push off harder, because when you're in a turn, you can push off harder. And I've done that before. And it's like, I should be doing this all the time. I don't get my butt down low enough on some of the drills, and I'm getting there. And part of it's my knees. I know it's my knees. It's part of it's my confidence. But my confidence really is kind of way up. And yeah, it's a hell of a lot better than it used to be. I'm getting far more confident on my skates. So, as in, like, I can actually do shit that I didn't do before. I mean, I got plows down, and now I just got to make them better. Yeah. But yeah, I was told, my knee falls, I had great control on my knee falls. I got 4s on those. except when I did that one. But yeah, it's gonna be like, look, I know where I screwed up here, and it was actually the fall. So if we could do like a pack avoidance drill, give me a number. I'll make certain I don't screw this one up. And then I know what I screwed up here. Let me work on sticky skating with my left foot. And the best way to work on sticky skating with my left foot, I know how to do this. I'll just tell them, is it okay if I just skate around the OPR lane in the opposite direction so that I can use my left foot to push out all the time? Because that's what I actually told my ref. I said, yeah, you know why I'm not using my left foot is because every time we did sticky skates at hard, we always went in derby direction. And so most of your time, you're pushing out with your right foot as you're going through the turn. I mean, that's just normal. You're pushing out with your right foot. So your left foot doesn't get as much of a workout. Dutchland actually makes you go the opposite direction. They will, like during some of the cardios, they'll make you go in the opposite direction. And there's stuff that we're going to have to learn, like crossovers going the other way and stuff like that. And I need to get better at my backward skating. I know that. I mean, I can sticky skate around, but I can't skate the way they do. I'm going to get better at it. I really do. If I start missing out on Sundays, it'll probably be the end of January before I'm officially part of the team. But I'm still working toward getting completely certified by the first of the year and being a part of the team by the first of the year. Because my one goal right now, again, is Battle of the Freshies. It comes in the middle of February, which means I've got to be registered for it by like the end of January. And that's my goal. That's what I want to do. I want to be down there in Hagerstown. I want to do that. I've fucked around with this enough. It really is. It's time that I get this done. It really is. I've futzed around with it so much now. I've spent far too much time coming this far to walk away or not succeed. I can't spend another year trying to do this. I know I'm close and I can do this. I know I can. I really, really, really can. So, that's the idea. Yeah, I'm gonna get there. I'm looking forward. Like I said, I'll check my sheet tomorrow. See how tier 2 is going. Like I said, I'll work some stuff up to 4s if I can. I'll just tell them I know where I'm screwing up here. Let me redo this because it's like these should be 4s. Let me get these up to 4s. Please let me get these up to 4s. Let me work on it. I know what needs to be done now. So, and since we'll be on the track, it'll be easier. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I actually am. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. What can I say? Yeah, I do. It is here coming into the end of November. It looks like I'm actually starting to get a little hope in a lot of different things. So we'll see what happens. So I will be back next week on the 17th. Yeah. And by the way, today is the anniversary of the record of Edmund Fitzgerald. So if you get a chance, play the song. As we used to joke in Chicago, it's one of the longest songs ever made. It really isn't. I forget. It's only I think it's 6 minutes long, which is not that big of a deal. Let me double check this. Yeah, let me double check this. It's 6 minutes and 40 seconds long. It's actually 6 minutes and 6.5 minutes long. There are longer songs out there, but there are few songs that long where people actually sing throughout the entire song. Yeah, which is probably one of the reasons why it seems like it goes on forever. Plus, it's also about a shipwreck. But if you came from the Midwest like me, and you happen to be living in 1975, that was a huge, enormous deal back then. It really was when it went down. And not only when it went down, but it was like no one knew where it went down for the longest time. You know, they had estimations of where it sank, and no one really understood why it sank. And now the betting is pretty much, not only did it get hammered by waves, but it may have encountered a rogue wave that broke it in two. Because we do know the wreck is lying on the bottom of Lake Superior in 540 feet of water, which is like 160 meters, I believe. And it broke in two. So there's even, based on the damage on the bow, one guy claimed that it probably hit a rogue wave head on, dove into the trough behind the wave, and actually just kept going straight down, because it was like this long trough and it went straight down, and another wave broke over it and pushed it into the lake bed, because the Edmund Fitzgerald was like 600 feet long. So, you know, it's not entirely impossible. And then when it hit, that's what snapped the ship in half. And it happened so quickly, because whatever happened fast enough that the ship went under right away. And, you know, nobody had time to go like SOS, you know, we're taking on water, you know, we're going down, we're heading for the lifeboats. No, it just like, it went right under. And it tends to happen with rogue waves. You know, they hit and then you're fucked. And like people say, why don't you like to be out on ships? Because of rogue waves. And they tend to just, now that we know, they tend to pop up more frequently than we had originally thought. Yeah, they do. They do. They pop up more frequently than we thought. And we're talking like some massive ass rogue waves, like they've recorded in the middle of nowhere, like 30 meter high. That's 100 feet rogue waves just popping up for the fuck of it, because the ocean hates you. And I do not want to be on I do not want to be on a ship and get hit with a rogue wave. I really don't. The Edmund Fitzgerald probably went down due to a rogue wave. God, there was a German ship back in the 70s, 1970, I believe. It got hit by a rogue wave. In fact, I can't think of the name of it. I gotta look it up. I'm not gonna look it up. But the only thing they actually found, the biggest thing they found from the ship was one of the lifeboats. And they said the things that held the lifeboat on to its mooring had been bent back before they snapped off. And they said this part of the ship was like 65 feet above the water line. So they think the ship, I believe it was called the Hanover, hit a rogue wave head on, because the insurance company was like trying to figure out what the hell happened. And they believe it hit a rogue wave head on. And that just drove like half the ship underwater. And at that point, you know, it was pretty well fucked. You know, it just, at that point, it happened in a storm and it ended up capsizing and going under in like 20, 30 seconds, you know. It did. So I don't like rogue waves. No, I don't want to be on a rogue wave. I don't want to get hit with a 60-foot wave or a 70-foot wave or even a 100-foot wave. I don't want to get hit with that shit. I don't want to be on a ship. And I've seen pictures of passenger liners. You know, you've seen the video of ships that have been hit by rogue waves, and there's like water in the decks and everything shorting out and stuff. And it's like, nah, not for me, baby. No, I don't want to go down in the middle of the ocean. It's not for me. And one of the most famous rogue waves that most people don't know about was the Queen Mary, which was at the time was one of the largest ships in the world. They turned it into a troop ship for a while during World War II because you could put like it's like 40,000 people. I mean, literally they just cram these guys into the ship. And it was like, take a shit over the side of the vessel. And there was one time, I think they were ferrying like 40,000 people, 40,000 troops. I mean, it was just an enormous number of people. Maybe it was 20,000, but it was still a lot. It was a huge number of people. And they were ferrying these troops to England. And of course, this was all being done in blackout conditions with radio silence, so no one knew what was going on. And during a storm, the Queen Mary took a rogue wave broadside. It came in from the left, the port side, and hit it. And they said it was big enough that it actually broke over the cabin, the main control cabin, the bridge. That's what I want to call it, the bridge. It broke over the bridge, so it was at least 100 foot high, and it rolled the Queen Mary over on its starboard side about 50 degrees. I mean, the ship was just like that. And they said it was right at the point of no return. It literally was like a degree or two more toward the ocean, and it would have capsized. It would have went right over. And it would have been the worst maritime disaster ever, because 20,000, 40,000 troops on board, they all would have died. The ship would have sank, and that would have been it. And that was the basis. That one story was actually the basis for Paul Gallico when he wrote The Poseidon Adventure, which was a novel first before it was a movie. And he just took the logical conclusion of what would happen if a passenger liner were hit by a wave like that and capsize. What would happen to the people inside? So that's where he actually got the idea for the Poseidon Adventure, was from the Queen Mary almost capsizing with like 20,000 people on board. There you go. Now you know. The more you know. So I'm going to get going. Once again, I've talked for more than an hour, if you want to call this talking. So there you go. I will see you next week, and I hope you have a good time. Goodbye. Take care. Bye.